All right, so for this lab, this is what you ultimately want. You want a graph that has the class average scatter plotted along with a trend line, also known as a best fit line, and the equation of that line. Remember, you need the equation of the line to be able to find that unknown, to solve for x, to find the unknown sucrose solution, which is one of the major objectives of this lab. So you're going to do one for the class average, or for all the classes averages, and then one for your particular group's data. So see how I have two scatter plots with best fit lines, and each of them are labeled average and then your own data. I'll show you how to do that now. So I'll start over. I'm just going to delete this. And start over. So remember, I showed you last time, but I'll show you again, that right next to these x values for sucrose, see these are your x values, percent sucrose, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, that's percentage of sucrose. This is your unknown. We're not going to graph the unknown because we don't have an x value for that, and so it won't know how to graph it, but we will solve for the unknown once we have the y equals mx plus b formula for the line. All right, so now I'm going to type in here average or averages, and now I have to find the averages. So I'm going to go to insert function, again insert function, and then average. Click on average, and now it just says what do you want to average, and now I'm going to highlight all of the ones in this row. Just put it down towards the end and it'll keep scrolling until you get to the very end of that row. Once I have all those highlighted in that row, I'm going to hit return, and this will give you the average. Now a little trick here. I will hover my cursor down in that bottom right corner where that blue dot is. As soon as it turns from an arrow to a cross, I can click and drag it, and that tells it to do the same thing to average all the rest of these rows, which is what we want. So that's just a shortcut there. So now we've got what we need. We got the x values and we got the y values. So now I'm going to click and drag to highlight. Should I do the unknown? No, I should not. So I highlighted my x values, I highlighted my y values, including the titles at the top, which will be helpful so that it can label the graphs. Now I'll hit insert chart, and it gives me something that I don't want, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to go to chart type and change it from column to scatter. Again, we want a scatter plot, and then we're going to do a best fit line or a trend line. That also doesn't look good, so I'm going to scroll down and click this, telling it to switch the rows and columns. Now we got something that looks really nice, and that's what we want. Here are the x values, the A column. Here are the y values, the B column, which is the averages. I'm going to click on use row 1 as headers, and now when I get the equation of the line, it'll list it as averages. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go to customize, customize and series. Again, customize series, and now for the averages, I'm going to scroll down and click on trend line. Now we got a nice best fit line through there, and now all we need to do is scroll down a little more to click on label, because this is where I'm going to click on use equation. Now I've got the equation of the average data line, which is this line right here, in a y equals mx plus b format. Now I can put in the y value. One of the questions asked for this. The y value for the unknown is 15 for the average, so I'm going to write 15 equals 0.96x plus 3.6. Do simple algebra to solve for x, and that will give us the unknown x value, also known as the percent sucrose for that solution. Now I just need to do one more thing, which is graph my own data alongside this other one. So I'm going to go back to setup. So click setup right here. Then I'm going to add a series, meaning I want to add another set of points here. So click on add series. And this is where I'm going to find Sorry, this thing's in the way. Let me move the graph down. Try that again. All right, add series. And now I'm going to find whatever data is mine. So for your class, we'd have to scroll over here. Let's say I'm in MS group. I'll take that, highlight it, click OK. Notice I didn't do the unknown because it's got no X value. And I did do the title at the top. You'll see why in a minute. All right, I'm going to click on OK. Scroll back to see my graph, see how it looks. See how I highlighted the top, so now it gives me that title for that particular data set, these red dots. Now I just need to find a trend line for this. So I'm going to go to Customize and do the same thing I did before to add the trend line, except now I need to click right here where it says Apply to All Series. I already have the average one. Now I want to do the red dot one, the individual group data. Click on that, do the trend line of that. Now I got my trend line there, and I want to have my equation on here so I can compare my, so label, use equation. So now I can solve for X to see how my own data compared to the class average data, see who was closer. And the answer we're looking for is, well, not the answer we're looking for. The answer we're looking for is whatever that algebraic answer is, but the true value is 13%. I know because I mixed it, and so the unknown is known to me, and so you're shooting for ideally 13%, which I think you can see is pretty close for some of these, especially for the class average. Lastly, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but you do have to go to, when you're beginning, you have to go to File and make a copy so that you can edit your own data set once you start with the data set that's shared with everyone. So File, make copy, do your average, find the trend line of the average, add your own individual data, do the trend line of that one. Then you have everything you need, and we're all set.